What's going on, everybody? And I hope you're enjoying your Tuesday afternoon so far. NYG Jeffy T 85 back at it again. This time we're switching it up over to the New York Football Giants, and we're going to talk about how the New York Giants could potentially have interest in getting another offensive line piece to fill out the more interior of their offensive line going into the 2023 NFL season. And they could be turning towards 27-year-old former second-round pick back in 2019 out of Kansas State at pick number 41, former Denver Broncos offensive guard / left guard Dalton Risner. And this is coming from Big Blue in BigBlueView, who made the report, and also from Bill Barnwell, talking about Dalton Risner and why he could potentially be a good fit with the New York Giants as a potential depth piece on that offensive line, or somebody that could obviously compete for one of the starting positions on the offensive line for Big Blue, if he in fact gets signed to the Big Blue going forward. In fact, ESPN is even predicting that the New York Giants will in fact sign Risner to a deal to add to the competition they already have at the guard position, which right now it looks like that left guard and possibly the right guard position are wide open to see who can grab those spots, even though it looks like Mark Lewinsky has the leg up at the right guard position next to Evan Neal and new center John Michael Schmitz, while left guard could be an open competition between Ben Bredeson, third-round pick last year out of North Carolina, Joshua Ezeudu, fifth-round pick out of North Carolina last year, Markus McKethan, former fifth-round pick out of Oregon in 2020, Shane Lemieux, as well as undrafted free agent pickup Jack Anderson, who the Giants brought in, and J.C. Housenauer, who has mainly played center but has played guard a couple of times too. And this is what Barnwell had to say. Although the New York Giants don't have a ton of cap space after re-signing Daniel Jones, extending Dexter Lawrence, and franchising Saquon Barkley, they should have enough room to get creative with voidable years if they want to sign a player to a one-year deal, and Risner should be the player. The Giants rotated Nick Gates and Ben Bredeson at left guard last year, but Gates left for the Commanders in free agency, plus Joshua Ezeudu, a 2022 third-rounder, suffered a neck injury last November, leaving the Giants in a vulnerable position at left guard in 2023. Obviously, Ezeudu dealt with neck stingers in the back of his neck, and it's no true, it's not 100% a fact that Ezeudu will be 100% ready to go and 100% healthy for training camp this year. Barnwell continues. Risner started 62 games over 4 seasons with the Broncos, and although his 2019 second-round pick wasn't a superstar, he was expected to land a multi-year deal for a starter money somewhere in free agency. Instead, the Broncos signed Ben Powers to replace Risner, who hasn't found a market, and Risner missed the season finale against the Chiefs with a sprained UCL in his elbow, but that injury wouldn't have prevented the 27-year-old from finding a new home. Instead, he appears to be looking at a limited market of teams who need meaningful help at the guard position. A one-year deal with the Giants in around $5 million range would make sense for both parties, and Brian Daboll's team would look to get a veteran protecting Jones and security if Ezeudu struggles to return, while Risner would play in a well-regarded offense and earn a shot at a long-term deal after 2023, either with the Giants or somewhere else. A one-year deal for $5 million, if the Giants can get creative with it, would not be the end of the world and could actually end up being a pretty solid deal for Big Blue if you end up pursuing somebody like Dalton Risner, if you don't believe that Ezeudu is going to be 100% back from his neck injury that he suffered last year, and if you believe the group of J.C. Housenauer, Ben Bredeson, Shane Lemieux, and Jack Anderson is just not going to get the job done. And obviously Markus McKethan, who's mainly going to be at the right guard position behind Mark Lewinsky, he's coming off a serious knee injury, so he's no guarantee as well. So, would the Giants want to invest a one-year deal for around $5-6 million for a player like Risner, who is coming out of Kansas State with a lot of hype? Risner is a starting caliber player, maybe the left guard equivalent of Giants right guard Mark Lewinsky. His Pro Football Focus grades were in the 60s during each of his first 4 seasons in Denver, with a high of 68.5 and a low of 61.1. He averaged about 10 sacks over 4 seasons, and his pass blocking efficiency scores have been 97.1 or above each year. Obviously, he's going to be a better pass protector than a run blocker. Risner will just turn 28 years old this upcoming season, although Big Blue View continues to say, personally, though, I don't see this as a necessary move, and the Giants have a number of options to fill at left guard. Bredeson played pretty well overall. Giants are very high on Joshua Ezeudu, even though he is coming back from a concerning neck injury, and he is a little bit deficient at the pass blocking department, but he's shown some consistency as a run blocker. But they believe that he can be a starting caliber guard. Plus, the Giants still have Shane Lemieux around and 2022 fifth-round pick Markus McKethan, as well as they have Jack Anderson, and I forgot to mention Wyatt Davis, who they had stashed on the practice squad this past season, is another option they could try out. But signing Risner might be worthwhile, but it also looks like it might complicate the Giants' ability to make any in-season moves. So this is obviously going to be something, if the Giants do find a way to sign somebody like Dalton Risner, is it going to make it hard for them to make any moves during the offseason because of the fact you signed somebody like Dalton Risner, and that's going to add more cap onto your salary cap already, and it's going to make it more difficult to make some more moves for Big Blue in season if they have any injuries at a certain position and need to try to find a way to add more bodies during the regular season if they have a slew of injuries at one certain or two certain positional groups going into the 2023 season. Risner, to me, came out of the NFL draft with a lot of hype. He was one of the hyped up guards coming out of that draft back in 2019. I remember a lot of people were thinking that this kid could translate into the NFL as one of the top guards overall, but he just couldn't put it together in terms of being a starting superstar quality type player. And he ended up being a solid player for Denver, but not the type of player that they initially were hoping when they drafted him at pick number 41 back in 2019 out of Kansas State. So this is one of those players that is right now just seeking to see if he can latch on with a team going into the 2023 NFL season. It's just a question of what team A will take a chance on him, and B, if he's going to be a guy that could either be more of a role player on the team, or if he can be a guy that's more going to be a starter on the team going into the NFL season. I understand why the Giants might be a little bit hesitant on potentially passing on somebody like Risner, because you have to think about it. The Giants have so many other players at that position at left guard and right guard that they could play with that over there, that why would you want to take a chance to sign somebody like Risner when, like I mentioned, you have Wyatt Davis, who's young enough, Markus McKethan and Joshua Ezeudu are all young players that could fill in that role and need time to develop. You got a serviceable players like Ben Bredeson, Jack Anderson, J.C. Hausenauer, and of course, Shane Lemieux that could all fill in as well. So would the Giants be willing to put in more assets and money into somebody like Dalton Risner when you already have some in-house options on the roster already? But at the same time, do they believe that A, Ezeudu is going to be able to come back fully from that injury in his neck? Number one. Number two, is he going to develop completely into the player they were hoping to get out of North Carolina when they drafted him in the third round last year? And C, do they believe that the players currently on the roster, Bredeson, Hausenauer, Lemieux, Wyatt Davis, Jack Anderson, these guys can get the job done at that left guard position depending on what direction they go. So this is going to be another thing that we have to look forward to if the Giants do full out go and pursue a guy like Dalton Risner in free agency. But you guys let me know in the comment section what you think about the news of the Giants potentially having interest in signing former Denver Broncos left guard Dalton Risner in free agency, and if you like the move. And as always, hit that like button if you haven't already, and give a sub to NYGJeffyT85. More news updates and chatter surrounding the New York Giants. Turn on the bell, that bell for the notifications. Next video or short dropping on the channel surrounding the New York Giants. If you enjoy the video and if you enjoy the content, don't be afraid to leave a super thanks in the bottom of the video in the chat to give thanks to this content creator, and of course, show your appreciation and love to myself, NYGJeffyT85, and always appreciate all the love and support you guys give me. And of course, share your comments and opinions on the Giants, and if you would like to see the Big Blue sign somebody like Dalton Risner to add more depth to their guard position overall, and if he could be a guy that can compete and win the left guard position for Big Blue going into the 2023 season, if they do sign him for a one-year $5 million deal in the rest of this offseason. Thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Take it easy, and as always, let's go New York Football Giants. Together blue, everyone.